editorial, and journalistic integrity. Without integrity, your journalism is untrustworthy and suspect. Integrity gives a journalist the authority to investigate issues, shine a light in dark places, and to dig where others don't. It is essential for informing the public debate with trustworthy, rigorous journalism. Hello, everybody. I met a man and did an interview with him. His name is Reilly Capps, about 1 year ago. He was searching to talk to a real flat earther in the movement and wanted to see what this was all about. And he reached out to me, finding me, I believe it was on Facebook, about a year ago. And we did a little bit of chatting back and forth and just a little bit of question and answer. And of course, afterwards, I video logged about my experience, not knowing how his article was going to turn out. Like I said, his name is Reilly Capps. He is a writer for the Rooster Magazine, which is a magazine geared more towards millennials. And he comes out of Colorado. And Reilly just recently connected with me again after a full year. Because we've been having a lot of news coming out lately in the media about Flat Earth and the Flat Earth International Conference, of course, and Mr. Mad Mike Hughes doing his homegrown rocket launch. And so Reilly and I talked on the phone, did a phone or an audio interview for 32 minutes the other night. In fact, I have proof of that on my cell phone. And he recorded our conversation, and after the fact, I requested that I get a copy of this recording. And I have asked Mr. Reilly Capps probably about 6 times through private messenger and also through text messaging on my private cell phone for a copy of the audio interview, because the article has now come out. And I feel I was severely misquoted. And I would like to share with the public and share with my subscriber base, share with my friends on Facebook and all of my groups what I actually said. However, he has denied sending me a copy of the audio version of the interview, which is quite sad. So tonight I'm going to be talking about journalistic and editorial integrity, and I'm going to be reading over his article, and I'm just going to be doing commentary alongside of it, because that's all I can do, because I do not have a copy of my audio. If you have all been following me, though, you will understand what my point of view was on the conference and what was also my point of view about Mad Mike Hughes. I hope you enjoy. So for this short segment, I'm just going to go over part of the conversation between Reilly Capps and myself through instant messenger. The beginning part of this, which I don't have it scrolled down, is me just sending Reilly my email address, because I don't mind giving my email address out to whoever requests it, but I don't want it out there that the trolls can get a hold of it. So I'm going to go down through here and read part of our conversation. This happened directly after the phone call, which I did take a screenshot of just to show that we did a 32-minute phone interview. And this just is, he had some more questions afterwards, and this is how I answered them. And then our conversation as far as regarding me requesting the audio version of our interview. So Reilly says, "Nice, thank you." And that was because I gave him my email address. Question: is this just the beginning? Will we someday have a flat earth NASA? My response is, when I think of NASA, I think of a military complex created solely to fake space, support the lie of a spinning globe, and hide a creator, while stealing millions of dollars from Americans. My intent is that the community creates a genuine, ethical, honest company committed to truth.
using funds raised to support observations, experiments, and the true scientific method to uncover Earth's mysteries. Let's respectfully search for answers about our home. Of course, he didn't use any of this, and I mentioned in our phone conversation, I also talked extensively and very highly of the new group called FE Corps. Reilly says, but I mean like a flat Earth fleet of rockets. I said, I do not see that in our future. We are more interested in going to the center, the Arctic, and the outer ring, Antarctica. Reilly says, that sounds very doable. Then I sent him an update because Mad Mike Hughes had very soon after we had our conversation, he uploaded an update on his YouTube channel. So I gave him the link. And then I also remembered that I unfortunately spelled IPS's name wrong, Tim Osmond. I was just spelling it from memory, and I remembered that I misspelled it. So I sent him a link to his Facebook, and then I also said, that he has interviewed Mad Mike several times and visited him. And I said, please send me the audio from our conversation the other night. Thank you. Email or Facebook private messenger. And this is Reilly, do you feel like I misquoted you? By the way, the headline was my editor's. Mine was much more neutral. And meanwhile, he had sent me, and I don't know, I think it might have even been through Skype or Facebook private messenger. He sent me a link to the article. And I find it ironic that I said nothing about feeling like I had been misquoted. I said nothing about the article. I just immediately, or very soon after I read it, wanted to get a copy for myself. And his reply was, do you feel like I misquoted you? I feel like him throwing that out there without me saying anything about feeling like I was misquoted. I said nothing negative about the article. I find it really ironic that the first thing out of his mouth was, do you feel like I misquoted you? And then also being very apologetic for the headline. So two things in that sentence psychologically he felt guilty about. He felt guilty immediately, guilty conscience, and felt like I was requesting my audio because I was misquoted, even though I did not say anything about that. And secondly, he was apologizing for the headline, and I said nothing about that as well. I merely said I thought it was a good conversation and I'd like to re-listen, which I did think that we had had a good conversation. I was quite shocked because the article, it sounded like two different conversations. It had nothing to do with anything we talked about. Reilly said, no one's ever asked me that before. Do you want me to take your picture off? Again, I said nothing about my picture being on there. I was not upset about that. Here's number 3, guilty conscience. Because he did not ask me for a picture, he snagged a picture of me off of Facebook. It's a good picture, so I said I was okay with just leaving that on there. I said, no, that's fine. Send to my email. Well, there's my email. That's okay. I don't need to block it. I've never done that before. I will consult my editor. That's what Reilly said. I said, you recorded me. I think I have the right to a copy. That's how all these audio interviews with other channels, shows, and magazines are doing things. If I request a copy of my voice, there should be no issue. We did it this way at the conference as well. Again, he says, if you think I've misquoted you, I can go back and re-listen and fix it. There's number 4, guilty conscience comment. But my recordings are for my own use. I've never sent them out. No one's ever asked. And I've been a reporter 20 years, and I don't want to start now. Unfortunately, Reilly, just because no one's ever asked doesn't mean we don't have the right to recordings of our own voice. I said again, I would like a copy of my voice and my recordings, Reilly. Thank you. Please do the right thing. He said, I don't think so. Never done it. Not starting now. My journalist friends don't do this. My recordings are for my use. I'm going to move on from Flat Earth for now. It's an interesting subculture, and you guys are nice, and I like your bravery to dare to be wrong, but I don't want to get too involved. It seems like he does this often when it gets a little heated, he just backs out. Then I write, you had your chance to do the right thing. He says, for that same article, I talked with a young Earth creationist who said not only was I wrong about the age of the Earth, but I was going to hell for thinking that way. So what can you do? I'm already going to hell, apparently, according to the guy. So I feel like that's number 5, admission of guilt, guilty conscience. He knew he did something wrong, and he admitted to it in his comments 4 times above. And now here's number 5, realizing that what he's done wrong, that it's so wrong that he's already going to hell, apparently. Because I think that Reilly understands that he's a horrible reporter and that he has no journalistic or editorial integrity.
The title of this Rooster article is After Rocket Launch Postponed, Flat Earth Fights Over Who's the Dumbest. Could the Flat Earth movement be on the verge of a crash? A self-taught rocket scientist is out to prove the Earth is flat. That right there, after our 32-minute interview, is not what I said. Now, he may have gotten this information from someone else or from the general public, but I do want to make it very clear that when Reilly and I talked, I was very adamant about the fact that Mad Mike is not out to prove curvature or non-curvature of the Earth with this jump. And I went into details about what Mad Mike was trying to accomplish from the very beginning with this rocket launch. I explained to Reilly that Mad Mike Hughes, who has been a flat earther for a while now, about 5 months ago when I did my first video log on Mad Mike Hughes, he had already suggested that he was a flat earther for close to a year. So now we are 17 months later, and I would say, that he's been a flat earther for a while. He was already planning on making a world record attempt jump with a homemade steam-powered rocket. A rocket he created himself, built himself, going to be powered by steam, and he was going to try to break a world record, jumping 1 mile. That's not getting high enough to see curvature or non-curvature. That's not proving if the Earth is flat or not. And I've been telling everyone this because, of course, the media twists things. And that is part of the whole integrity, subject today. Because very quickly when Reilly and I talked, and of course this is on my audio, I was quick to explain how the media does twist things. And the reason why everyone thinks that Mad Mike Hughes is out to prove the Earth is flat is because of people like journalists and reporters that are lying and that are twisting the truth. Shame on you. A self-taught rocket scientist is out to prove the Earth is flat, and not all flat earthers are happy about that. Like a real-life Wile E. Coyote, Mad Mike Hughes has built himself a steam-powered rocket of his own. He wants to fly 2,000 feet up, which I don't remember him saying how high he was going, into the California air on Saturday. His ultimate goal is to build an even bigger rocket, a flat Earth rival to NASA. When the news went all around the world, as Hughes said, a slip of the tongue surely, many flat earthers were happy that it's giving flat Earth some exposure, said Carly Madrano, which is something that I said. I was happy that we were getting exposure, whether it was being twisted or not. But now it's looking like the flat Earth spaceman is looking unprepared. His original launch date was postponed because he didn't have the right permits. Now some flat Earth folks are uneasy. What if this all goes wrong? Flat Earth believers are saying, what happens if he drills himself into the ground, said Mark Sargent of EnclosedWorld.com. A prominent flat Earth evangelist. You could try to paint flat Earth in a bad light. Now, I'm reading this word for word. It's not written very well. Sorry to offend, but it's not written very well. And of course, I don't trust any of these quotes because I know mine were misquoted. Flat Earth is already ridiculed as the dumbest idea in the world. It's the theory that powerful people are tricking us into believing the planet is a ball so they can hoard the natural resources out on the edges of a disk. I don't know who he was talking to that said that we live on a flying disk, because everyone that I associate with does not conform to that theory. Powerful people do, in fact, lie to us all the time to make themselves rich. But not about this. And every time Flat Earth makes the news, whether from basketball star Kyrie Irving or rapper B.O.B. or reality star Tila Tequila, it gets laughed off the internet. Mike face plants in the desert. Flat Earthers worry. Support for the moon theory could pancake too. David Weiss, a Flat Earther, says in a YouTube clip, he will probably break his neck or more likely die. He will then win the Darwin Award for Dumbest Human, and the MSM will run wild with it, connecting all Flat Earth researchers with its stupidity. The media fallout will be unprecedented. We wanted to ask the Rocket Man himself about these worries, but Mad Mike did not respond to an email or a Facebook message. He's hard to get a hold of, said Medrano. That's me. A photographer in Pennsylvania. And I do photography, but that is not I don't get paid to do it. I mean, sometimes I do little gigs here and there, but that is not my job. It's so awful. Let me back up. I think it's funny that someone that claims to be a journalist only is looking into like information they see on Facebook, and then putting that in an article, because that's what it says on my Facebook page, that I do photography. So, you know, way to go researching. It's so awful because he's making rockets, but he's said he's not into computers. He's not up to date with those sorts of things. And I would not have said it that way, and I remember talking about this plainly. I did explain that Mad Mike has admitted himself that he is not into the tech and social media part of the internet. So he is more difficult to reach. But in the way the article states it, it makes it sound like he is just an imbecile. When in reality, this man is building rockets. He is a homegrown rocket scientist. So putting it out there that way kind of made it seem like, well, he doesn't know how to do Facebook, so, you know, we're alluding to the fact that he probably doesn't know how to build a rocket either. I don't like that quote. I don't remember saying it that way. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is a lie as well. Medrano is proud to say she's partly responsible for Mad Mike. She said her activism on YouTube and her involvement with a billboard saying Research Flat Earth helped convert Mike, and her enthusiasm helped get Flat Earthers to fund his rocket project totaling $8 grand. Medrano herself donated several times. So let's go back and talk about this little paragraph. The article says Medrano is proud to say she's partly responsible for Mad Mike. She said her activism on YouTube and her involvement with the billboard saying Research Flat Earth helped convert Mike, which is a bold-faced lie, because I went through the history of what happened with Mad Mike as far as him being a flat earther long before he got involved with the billboard, and long before he got involved with us as far as putting the banner Research Flat Earth on the side of his rocket. He did, however, noticed my YouTube footage of the Philadelphia Research Flat Earth billboard. And that is how he got in contact with the dailyplane.com and IPS, or Infinite Plane Society at the time. And they organized the funding for the Philadelphia billboard, and then they helped organize crowdfunding to get the saying Research Flat Earth as a basically flying billboard put onto Mad Mike Hughes' rocket that he has made. That is what originally this first jump was for. It was not to prove the Earth is flat or to disprove that the Earth is flat. We literally agreed to help crowdfund to make it into a flying billboard, just to have it say Research Flat Earth. I had nothing to do with converting him to a flat earther. I don't want to take that away from whatever video or whoever he talked to originally that helped change his mind about the shape of the Earth. That is not me. I did not do that. I think it's wonderful, you know, whoever did help do that, and whatever video he watched and whatever motivated him into looking into flat Earth. The only thing I was responsible for was the fact that he saw my Research Flat Earth billboard coverage, and that's how he got a hold of our community. I did, however, help donate during the live super chats when we were raising money for through Infinite Plane Society. I don't think that our goal was $8 grand. I don't think that number is right. I think it was a little lower. It was in the 7,000 range. But, you know, Reilly's exceptional with his research. A flat Earth space program faces questions no scientist since Copernicus has had to consider, like, what if the rocket goes too far and falls off the edge of the Earth? Are there dragons over there? Will they eat him? Those are mostly jokes, but many flat earthers do think something very strange. The Earth has a dome over it, like a snow globe, or the one Mr. Burns put over Springfield in the Simpsons movie. This puts future Rocket Man in danger. You could possibly take a rocket and punch it into the dome, Sargent said, which he did. I was on the Secret Show with Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent on Patricia's channel called Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. I was actually on last night, and we talked a little bit about this. I just wanted to video log it separately so I could just link this video when talking about this article. And, you know, Mark shook his head and said, I never said that. Moving on. This gets even better. Philip Stallings also believes the world is covered by a dome. Now, I don't know how many of you are very active on Facebook, but many of you that know me and that are active in my groups and active on Facebook know exactly who Philip Stallings is, unfortunately. And I am not gossiping. These are things that you can research yourself. And I have let Reilly Capps know this, that Philip Stallings is has been in and out of jail and has a history, a very extensive documented history of sexually abusing and harassing many flat earth women in the community, and also has done this to women in the past, and that is why he has a very long record. So it's a shame that someone who is into journalism and reporting and writing articles is not able to do better research and find out who in fact he is interviewing, and then to put someone like Philip Stallings in this article is really, really quite sad. You were duped. Philip Stallings also believes the world is covered by a dome. He is the founder of the Biblical Flat Earth Society, which is a terrible shame, which bases its beliefs on the first book of the Bible, Genesis, which suggests the earth is flat and covered by a solid roof called the firmament. Could a spaceship slam into the firmament? Stallings thinks it's too far out. The Bible is silent on the subject. NASA has an answer, but none of these guys believe in NASA. Kevin Anderson is the head of the Creation Research Society, which teaches creationism, the biblical teaching that the universe is 6,000 years old and evolution never happened. When people see flat earth stunts like Mad Mike's, they wonder whether good Christians should also believe in the flat earth, and they call him up. I never fielded a question about a flat earth in my life, Anderson said. In the last year, I fielded about 3. Everyone's asking, do you believe in flat earth? He doesn't, but it's a natural question. Creationist Christians ignore evidence just as completely as flat earthers. Evidence from NASA, from the National Science Foundation, from every university in the world to stick to their ideas. Anderson said, people like Mad Mike make us look silly. It makes the Bible look silly. Anderson, too, thinks the firmament is too far away for a rocket to hit it. He is more interested in other pressing questions like whether dinosaurs went extinct because they didn't fit on Noah's Ark. Everyone in this story thinks everyone else is stupid. Scientists think creationists are idiotic. Creationists think flat earthers are moronic. Some flat earthers think fellow flat earther Mad Mike is the dumbest of all. Let that be a lesson. Guess a lot of this article is lies and exaggerated. But look at the example we're showing to others. When the people that are doing the reporting think we all think each other are idiotic and that we're moronic. You know, what kind of representation are we doing here, folks? Are you paying attention? Are you being respectful? Or are we treating each other like this? That's probably the saddest quote of all in here. Mike was quoted by the Associated Press saying, I don't believe in science. There's no difference between science and science fiction. A lot of flat earthers are upset about Mad Mike, said Medrano, who was convinced by the internet 3 years ago, which is a lie because it has not been 3 years, that the earth is flat. They're going, I don't even want to be involved in this. I don't want to even call him a flat earther. He's giving us a bad name, which I don't talk like that. And I wouldn't have probably said that because I very much am in support of Mad Mike. And you can see that in other video logs and other interviews that I've done. Mad Mike, though, built a rocket on his own, and he's strapping himself in it, and he's going to fly it through the air. So how stupid could he really be? And I apologize for, having to read some of that. Again, I don't accept it, and I don't agree with all of it. I'm just going to add a couple notes here, and I'm going to try to do screenshots of some of the conversation Reilly and I had and put it up here, the proof that we had a 32-minute audio interview on my cell phone. And I just wanted to make a couple comments just on Mad Mike Hughes in general. I mean, I don't know all the details from what I've been following through the Flat Earth Network when he does live shows and live hangouts, that the last I heard from Mad Mike is that he's going to, of course things have been postponed, that he's going to try to launch this Monday. Today is the 30th of November, and it is Thursday. So he's going to try to launch Monday. Things were postponed, and it was not his fault. He was stopped by the government because of permits and permission to be on the land that he was on. So, going to add a couple things here and there to this video. I hope that y'all get the gist of what's going on here. I hope it's a lesson for all of us, myself included, and I'm just getting more into these interviews, and Flat Earth in general is getting out into the mass media just exponentially right now with the Flat Earth Conference happening and all the media coverage that happened there. So many radio shows and TV shows are covering us. Now, I understand a lot of people are against that. A lot of people are saying we shouldn't be in the mainstream media, but it's going to happen. You're not going to stop it. And these sorts of things is what's going to happen. You're going to get journalists that do not have journalistic and editorial integrity. And they're going to twist our words. They're going to make up lies. They're going to misquote us. And they're going to try to make us look like we are idiotic and that we are moronic, just like that sad quote in there. They're going to try to discredit us. How do we stop that? That doesn't mean we just say, no, it can't go mainstream. No, we can't do the interviews. You know how we stop that? We band together and we get out here and do video logs like this, and we do more interviews, and we share the truth. We share the truth with each other too. Don't spread rumors. Don't get angry at each other. If you're upset about something, you think something didn't go well, you go to that person and you talk to them about it. Don't talk to your group about it. Don't talk to, the Facebook group. Don't get on YouTube and do a hit piece. Talk to each other about it. Fix it. Share the truth. That's what we're doing. We all know that the world thinks we're crazy and that our words are being twisted because we believe that the earth is flat. Actually, we know that the earth is flat. Why did we think it was going to be any different when it started going out in mainstream? Why did we think that reporters in mainstream media was going to tell the truth? We need to keep doing our job. We need to keep being those people that are going to go out there and spread the truth. Get behind each other. Don't let it cause division and break all of us up. I hope that makes sense. This is Sunshine, out.